Well, welcome back to the show again. So another 2 weeks down, and we've got 2 weeks to go till we go to MotorEx. So some of the bigger issues that I'm facing at the moment is to get the stand finalised. So Adam Perry from the ATC Steelworks has been fabricating that for us, and we'll have that just in time to go. What we've been up to is we've got the ride height up now. Simon's been back just tweaking the trim a bit. Luke's been in doing the same with the wiring. We've done a little bit extra in the boot now, which I think looks a lot better, and it'll judge a lot better, and I'm more happy with the way it looks. And then for me and Darren, lots of polishing, all a little hard to get to areas. So enjoy what you're watching, and I'll talk to you at the end. What I'm doing now is we've in the last video you've seen we took the back panels and stuff out, and the reason for that was we had things to do in the boot. And I'm also now looking to polish some of these areas. And obviously with the taillight and all in it, it's very difficult to get machines in to be able to polish the edges and everything. So it's quicker to take it apart. And what I'm doing now is just finalising all these things that you see. I've got lots of light so that I can take it out. So I'm just using a lambswool pad first with the 45, which is the heavy cut in the Merca range. So they rate it here from the coarsest through to the fine. So this one's number 45, so it's the coarsest one. So I'm doing that with lambswool. And then once I've done the lambswool, I do it with the foam, the black foam pad or the grey pad. And then once I've done that, I'll go over it and bring the shine up. So last night I was doing roof gutters and down the quarter. Now I'm just getting this organised, and we can get this finalised so I can put the taillights back in, and then when the trimmer's here next week, he can start putting the trim back together. Now, I'll put a bit of that on there. So if I look a bit casual, this paint's quite hard now, so it would be nearly 5 months old. So it's quite hard to actually cut, and the chances of cutting through on an edge is way more difficult. You still can do it, but it's a lot more difficult. So, you know, with the lambswool, I'm working it pretty hard because the paint's now very much set, and now I need to bring it up. The advantage is being set, once I've got finished this time, it won't change because the paint's dry. You polish it up and it'll stay that way forever pretty much. Just grab that black pad. So that's that grey pad with the same polish. Let's put a little bit of water on there. That's a done deal on that. So around the corner here, while I'm doing that, Darren's got himself a job. We had these trims all straightened and polished, and just on the little ends, what I'd forgot about was on an XB, the moulding's longer and these curve up on an XC, so we had actually cut a bit off the end of it and reshape it. So what we're doing now is they went on and they look nice and shiny, but on the other end there was a little bit of repair that was needed, and Darren's done that, and then all of a sudden it looks shinier than the rest of it. So what he's got now is a bit of 800 to take the scratches out, 2000. And then he'll go to a bit of 2000, so it's a bit of softback 2000 Merca, and he'll now just 2000 that, and that'll then polish up by hand. What are you using?
Autosol.
Bit of Autosol, and it comes up. See, polishing whatever you're doing, whether it's paint, stainless, aluminium, is reducing the scratches down until you get to a point where by eye you can't see the scratches, and that's the process. So he's just going to spend, I know he might spend an hour on that moulding to make what was already a really good moulding a really, really good moulding. So he'll just chip away at that and we'll be all good. Hey, so Luke's back. How are we going, buddy?
Good, man.
So it's obviously been a while, but Luke was here last night and again tonight. We're just going through loose ends that we knew we sort of had for Summernats, but time was against us, and we've had a bit of a rest because we're just waiting for everything to catch up. So the things that we've been doing mechanically is things like door locks, and what we've done there is put a door lock solenoid into the door to operate the manual locks, and I showed that last time. But when we go to lock them, if you go have a go, mate, we're just...
So if we shut the door, so if we lock it,
and it opens again. So Luke's just had his scan tool and all that, so we're just trying to work out either what we might not have hooked up or where it's not what it's seeing. And one of the things that the computer's seeing is that when the car's in the park position, the computer's showing it as in still being in reverse.
Yes.
And we're thinking that might be the issue, because if the computer, what is it, body control module?
Yes, thinks it's still in gear, it's not going to allow the car to lock, so because it's technically not in the park position. So, which the car drives fine, but the computer's just not happy with it.
So once again, when Paul was here, we made some changes to the cabling. So we're thinking there might be a slight adjustment so the computer knows exactly where the shifter is.
Yep.
So all these little things to get everything to work 100%.
Yes.
We've just got to fine tune those. So mechanically the doors are locking.
Yep.
But the computer's saying, nope, not this time, we're going to open them up again.
Yeah, that's it.
The thing that I thought was really cool, if you open that door up again, and we'll just have a look at the mirror. So what we managed to do between Darren and I is we actually put the electric motor out of the FG mirrors into the housing, and now they work electrically from the original FG switch.
Yes.
Which is that little fella there.
Yep.
So it was funny because when we did that, we're both having a laugh about like the satisfaction of seeing that work for the first time was pretty cool.
Yes, we're very simple people.
Small things amuse small minds.
Yes.
So the other thing that Luke's been up to is just fiddling with this engine with the wiring, and it's more about aesthetics. It all worked before.
Yes.
And I've just had him here now and putting that sort of sharp eye on it, I guess.
Yes, yeah,
to
fine
go
tuning
over
a little
it
bit.
and fine tune what we're looking at. And we're both standing here a minute ago just thinking how nice that's looking, and pretty chuffed with ourselves about what we've ended up achieving there.
Yes.
So we're getting close. So I've got a couple of speakers to fit into these door trims. So Simon's been here as well. He's taken the trim just to do a couple of mods, and then we're going to mount the speakers in those, and we're pretty much ticking boxes off to get everything to work, which will be good.
Yep, definitely.
So one of the other things that I've had Luke looking at is the electric windows. So just run through pretty much what we've done there, mate, and you can, from an electrical point of view.
So what we've pretty much done is everything out to the door is FG. The only thing that's not FG is the actual door and everything in the door itself. So that is all original XC. So, but what we've managed to do was integrate it, the standard motors, which are working quite well actually for such an old system. We did have a bit of a hiccup when we did it, which it was a 50-50 chance of getting the polarity switching right on the windows to go up and down with the switch. We did find we had two doors back to front, but anytime there's 50-50, guarantee I'll pick the wrong 50. And it was just a quick, simple switch of the wire and we're good to go. So as you can see, the windows are working probably better than standard. I reckon.
Yep, I think you might be right.
Yeah, so they've got a really good power system in them. The FG system is quite happy with it, so I'm happy if it's happy. It's all working as it should.
So pretty much now that with those we can get the rear door trims on, we can button all those up pretty much finished.
Yep.
I've got a little bit of polishing to do around bits and pieces, and then when Simon brings back the driver's side one, we'll just finalise those, and that's just working towards getting all these little bits and pieces finalised.
Yep, there we go, getting close.
So we're probably about 3 weeks out from MotorEx now, so we're just really tidying up loose ends, and you've already seen that Luke's been back over doing a few bits and pieces, and Simon's been coming and going. How you going, buddy?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So you've just come back from Rocky?
Yeah, back from Rocky Nats.
Yeah, they told me that. I haven't been up there yet. They told me that's a really good show.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, the whole town gets involved, and the locals up there love it. And yeah, it
from
is
what I'm hearing.
very relaxed and a lot of fun.
Yep, and a few new cars.
Yeah, a few new cars. There's 6 unveils and a bike got unveiled as well.
Yeah, and it's non-stop, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Is there anything exciting you want to tell us about that you've seen on the new ones, or?
There's a nice 57 Nomad Chev that was there. It was pretty cool.
And that was converted, wasn't it, from a
yeah.
four-door or something?
Yeah, so it was originally a sedan delivery, I think, so it had no rear seat in it. And they've put the rear seat in, and
yeah, I just read something on Facebook or somewhere, and I went, oh, that's interesting. I'll have to check that out when we get down there. So tell us a bit about what you're up to, mate, because obviously the car was, appeared complete when we were at Summernats.
Yeah.
So just let the followers know what you're up to, and why you're here playing on a car that won top trim, basically.
Yeah, well, when we did the floor originally, I put panels on the side of the tunnel to flatten all that out and make it nicer, and then the carpet just rolled up like a FG would, and the glove box comes down and finished, and it's pretty neat under there anyway. But I thought we'll just flatten the top of the carpet out on the top of the tunnel, and then might make another panel on the underside there for the
on the underside of the glove box. So it's really just about making it a bit tidier, more from a judging perspective than visually, really.
I mean, no one's even going to really see it, to be honest, but when you're judging and you're under there, you will. Yeah,
and it's the sort of stuff that we do because we do.
That's it, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then obviously some other loose ends we had, like wiring and stuff under the seats, same scenario. It looks good when you're looking at it, but judging wise, there's still a few more points to be had.
Yeah, so before it was all tucked up nice and neat and everything, but we'll just finalise that and
just make it a bit tidier.
Yeah.
And then console wise, because we've trimmed that, there was a few bits and pieces that weren't sitting exactly how we'd like, so we've been able to trim a few things and take a little bit of edge off something just to make everything sit down a bit nicer.
Yeah.
And of course the boot was fairly plain, and I did it when Simon was up at Rocky actually, so we made up a panel in there that's sitting on there, and we'll do some footage when it all goes back in together. And if you have a look over here, this is the boot panel that goes over the top of all of that car audio stuff. And what we've been able to do here, Darren and I, these are the mouldings that come off the front guard on a 63 Fairlane, which I happened to have about 30 years ago and still had the part. So that's what they are, but they were curved, so we had to sort of straighten those up and then repolish them. Darren's repolished them. And then I hunted around all my Ford badges and found something that looks nice. So that's just going to take a bit of the plainness away. And then we've all been just working on tidying up all the edges. So where the leather rolls around the boot opening, around the locks, those sorts of things. And it really is just to give it a cleaner, sharper look. So that's pretty much what's happening there. Darren's back working on the damn door trims to get the door handles and stuff to work. But we've pretty much got a solution. And those people that are diligent with their Facebook, they would have seen that I've been looking for parts for the door, because we've got all the mechanism in the door, but the glass is just not running how I'd like it to run. And it turns out there's a secondary panel that goes in behind here that changes the way that fits into the door, and that'll change the way the glass goes up and down. So they're coming to me by post in the next couple of days, and we'll get those in, because we want everything running 100%, because when the car goes to MotorEx, it's going to go back up to Brisbane so that they can finish the tune and the engineering side of it so that the owner can try and get some use out of it. So that's where we're up to. I'm sure there'll be a few more bits, and we'll keep you posted. So a few other bits and pieces. Luke's been over the engine bay side of things. So we talked about wires that were showing colours. So just been in and put some heat shrink over some of these, and then tidied up the colours on the alternator, and once again heat shrink. So it's take it off, de-pin it, put the covers over it, heat it up, put it back on again. So it's really just a lot of little things, and then when I stand back and look at the engine, nothing's catching my eye. And then the other thing that's happened is I've painted the computer, the factory computer. It's all mounted back on now, and it tends to blend in with the bay how it was always intended. So it's just all those little things that we're ticking the boxes, working towards getting it all finalised. So we've mentioned numerous times that we need to get the car back up a bit in the air, and it's funny how once things go in really easily the first time, when you go to get it out, everything moves around a bit. So Darren's just got a jack up under the shop, getting a bit of load on it to get it out. Because he's the young bloke, he's in there doing it, not me. So what we've been able to do, and the advantage of having a coilover spring, is that that's your shock and your spring obviously, and then you've got adjustment for height, and we're fully up on the height and we're still too low. So what I've done is I've contacted Rodtech, who make the front end, and they've now supplied us with some springs. So that's the one that was in it, and these ones here are a 550, and the ones we're going to are a 650. So when I talk about 500, 600, the actual spring rate, so the amount of load this spring will carry is 500 pound. These are 550, which I don't think is enough, and these are 650. And we probably should have run maybe a 600, but they didn't have any. So we're putting the 650 in, and we're going to set them up at with the car at the lowest height, and I think that'll work fine for us. So we've done one, we'll just get this one done, put it in, and then put it down and see how we're going for height, and fingers crossed we'll have enough load to be able to hold the whole thing up. Hello. So this is one of those jobs you keep avoiding and then eventually you have to do. So I said after Summernats that we had some marks in here where I tried to mask it and it was still too wet. So I've back masked now the whole car, just sanding up with some 800, and then I'm going to put a little bit of colour on it where we're going to have to do some little repairs, and then shoot some more satin clear over it and we'll be all good to go. So thanks for joining us again. Like I said, 2 more weeks to go, so we'll be able to bring you one more episode with the whole thing all buttoned up and looking sweet. And then if you're going to MotorEx, make sure you catch up with me. I'll be on the PPG stand both Saturday and Sunday for a couple of hours. So do that. And if you're out there watching and you've seen all the dramas I've had with the front window winders on this car, if you happen to have a set of XC or late XB window mechanisms, so the regulator for electric windows, I'd love to hear from you. So, because the ones I've got clearly aren't the right ones. We've got them working, but not how I'd like. And don't forget, like the channel, comment, I'll get back to you for sure. And if you haven't already done it, subscribe to the channel. That lets us just keep operating. And we've got some really good news to bring you in a couple of weeks about where we're going with the channel and what we're going to be doing.